One Zambia, One Nation. A warm welcome to the Zanis News, and to present it, my name is Karlan Muchima. A quick look at the headlines. Kakubo to represent President Hakainde Hichilema at the United Nations General Assembly. Commissioning of 4 million kwacha Kalanga market in Mwense to enhance trading. Government to distribute inputs early. Plus 2 U.S. foundations to construct recreation centers in Kapirimponshi. Those are the headlines, and now the news in detail. President Hakainde Hichilema will be represented by Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation Stanley Kakubo at the 78th session of the United Nations UN General Assembly, which is taking place from 18th to 26th of September 2023 in New York. Mr. Kakubo is scheduled to address the General Assembly during the high-level general debate on Tuesday, September 26th, 2023. He is also expected to hold bilateral meetings on pertinent issues of mutual interest with other leaders. The general debate for this year will be held under the theme Rebuilding Trust and Reigniting Global Solidarity, Accelerating Action on the 2030 Agenda and its sustainable development goals towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all. Also in attendance at the high-level segment of the United Nations General Assembly meetings will be Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo and Minister of Community Development and Social Services Doreen Mwamba. This is according to a statement issued to Zanis by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Now, government has condemned the cross-section of political parties for driving an agenda to destabilize the cordial relations that Zambia continues to enjoy with Zimbabwe. Chief Government Spokesperson Chushi Kasanda, who is also Minister of Information and Media, is saddened that Socialist Party, Equity Party, and Patriotic Front PF leadership have engaged in a scheme aimed at disintegrating relations between Zambia and Zimbabwe. Ms. Kasanda said the actions of Fred Membe, Chilufya Tayali, Emmanuel Mwamba, and Raphael Nakachinda have the potential to destabilize peace and security in the country and cause a constitutional crisis. The minister was reacting to the foreign-produced documentary titled The Grand Scheme on the recent Zimbabwe elections. She said the appearance of the 4 political leaders in the documentary gives credence that they would not mind seeing Zambia destabilized in order to achieve their personal actions. Ms. Kasanda stressed that Zambia and Zimbabwe continue to enjoy a pleasant relationship, demonstrated by that country's leadership to extend an invitation to the government to attend President Emerson Mnangagwa's inauguration. And Vision Network Foundation in Mansa District in Luapula Province has since called on security wings in the country to take keen interest in a recently produced documentary by a Zimbabwean journalist dubbed the Grand Regional Scheme, as it has potential to compromise the country's peace and security. Foundation Director Bishop Maxwell Luchele said the foundation is worried that some Zambians can go to an extent of tarnishing the image of the country. Speaking during a press briefing in Mansa, Bishop Luchele indicated that the contents which appeared in the foreign-produced documentary is worrying. The clergyman noted that some of the things said in the documentary can go beyond politics, as they have the potential to damage the good image of Zambia regionally and internationally.
We have only one Zambia, and we must guard this nation jealously. I want to repeat, we must guard this nation jealously. We understand you are competing to get to plot 1, but you cannot do it at the expense of a good reputation of this country. We have opened the door too wide to our neighbors, in particular Zimbabwean journalists, and do anything. My call is to Zambia Police, to the Immigration Department, and all security wings. This, if not unchecked, will cost us heavily.
Still to come, commissioning of 4 million kwacha Kalanga market in Mwense to enhance trading. Stay tuned as we come back from this commercial break.
Hello, it's time for you to know your rights. For ignorance of the law is no defense.
People should report any case of gender-based violence to the police. They should not be tempted to compromise the cases, because compromising a case of gender-based violence is actually an offense.
Zambia, like any other country, has got laws that govern the welfare of its citizens.
We provide some check, some oversight on the police service.
When an officer misconducts himself, he's alone. One person being beaten is enough for the commission to move. The Constitution tells us that the people of Zambia must enjoy their liberties.
Every week on Thursday at 19:30 hours, the Zambia News and Information Services, Zanis, brings to your screens a program dubbed Police and the Community.
If we, the police, and you, member of the public, will work together, because the common enemy we have before us is the criminal.
Catch Zanis TV on Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH. Zanis TV, the People's Channel.
Welcome back, and we continue with the rest of the news on Zanis. In Luapula Province, Mwense Town Council Secretary Samuel Mumpa says the commissioning of Kalanga Market, constructed at a cost of not more than 4 million kwacha, has provided a conducive trading environment for traders. Speaking in an interview with Zanis in Mwense, Mr. Mumpa said the new modern market is spacious to accommodate all the marketeers and has a number of shops which will be accommodated by other traders. Here's a report.
In August this year, government handed over Kalanga Market in Mwense district in Luapula Province to marketeers. Mwense Town Council Secretary Samuel Mumpa explains what the handover of the market means to the marketeers.
The marketeers who now have a safer place in which to trade. Previously, they would just line up by the lay-by and sell their vegetables, and also in just a makeshift market. But we have a complete modern structure with complete ablution block.
The marketeers have already occupied their trading spaces in the market. And speaking in a related development, Mwense Council Chairperson Stephen Chikota highlights some of the projects that have been implemented so far using the Constituency Development Fund CDF.
There are more schools. We are just waiting for the contractors to hand over to the local government. They are in return also hand over to the Ministry of Education. Not only schools, also there are a lot of health centers that we have built under the 2022 CDF, and they are about also to be commissioned. Not only that, just this year alone, from the 2023 CDF, Mwense Council has procured 8 moving equipments, which will be receiving before the end of this year.
Lewis Changwe, Zanis, Mwense, Luapula Province.
Now, still in construction news, Muchinga Permanent Secretary Henry Mukungule has held Luvushimanda Town Council for ensuring quality workmanship on the construction of the Kalonje Primary and Secondary School staff houses. The Permanent Secretary, who inspected works and other constituency development fund CDF projects in the district, says he is happy that there is good workmanship while standards are being followed. Here's a report.
This is the construction of 4 staff houses at Kalonje Primary and Secondary Schools in Lavushmanda district. The houses are being constructed at a total cost of 1.4 million kwacha. Muchinga Permanent Secretary Henry Mkungule is impressed with the quality workmanship exhibited on the construction of the houses.
So, I think we are impressed with the workmanship that is coming up. We just want to urge the contractor to speed up the works so that they can be completed on record time. Yeah, that way I think we say we are doing very well. Otherwise, right from the beginning, we can see that there's good workmanship and the standards are being followed.
The local authority in Lavushmanda district were prompted to construct staff houses due to accommodation challenges being experienced by the teachers.
So we are doing 4 staff houses to aid the accommodation of the teachers. We had a serious challenge, so there was a proposal through CDF to do staff houses.
The local authority let us very much insist on standard and regularly inspect these structures so that when a fault has been detected very, very quickly, that one is corrected before we go very far.
Peggy Gutinho for Zanis in Lavushmanda, Muchinga Province.
Still with CDF News, Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata has urged the clergy in the country to desist from using the pulpit to criticize government. Mr. Kamalata says government is happy to sustain the values of the Christian Nation Declaration. He was speaking when he officiated at the Royal Temple International Church in Lusaka during a celebration of the church's 13th anniversary. Details in this report.
It was a spirit-filled worship atmosphere as Royal Temple International Church congregants in Kamwala South gathered to celebrate 13 years of existence. Royal Temple International Church Senior Pastor Stephen Mumba hosted the event.
We gather here today to give thanks to the Lord for his gracious sustenance of the church.
Permanent Secretary for Lusaka Province, Robert Kamalata, utilized the occasion to announce measures by government aimed at ending perennial flooding in Kamwala South area.
We are going to put measures in place to make sure that we don't experience flood. One of the measures that we are putting in place is, first, all the people that are buying homes which have disturbed the natural flow, the natural drainage, all those houses, we are going to break them. And when we break them, we have alternative land for people.
The Permanent Secretary also took time to counsel the clergy on the use of the pulpit.
I'd like to talk to the pastors that stand on the pulpit. The pulpit is used to bring people to Christ. A pulpit is not used to start condemning the government or the leadership of the nation. It's time the clergy stopped using the pulpit to criticize the government. We are not saying you cannot criticize us, you cannot criticize the government, but there are right procedures in which you should do.
Royal Temple International Church is also looking for over 200,000 kwacha for various civil works on their church building. Lou Majila reporting for Zanis in Lusaka.
Majila reporting there. And a resident of Lusaka's Kamwala South area has been found stealing stones meant for the construction of Tokyo Road, commonly known as Ring Road. Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary for Administration Mambo Hamaundu, who found one of the residents felling stones using a wheelbarrow, ordered him to return the stones immediately or the law will visit him. Mr. Hamaundu has since urged residents to desist from stealing public materials meant to better their own lives. As a report.
He has been found stealing stones meant for the construction of Tokyo Road in Lusaka's Kamwala South area. Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary for Administration, Mambo Hamaundu, has found this man ferrying stones to a residential business area. After interacting with the man, Mr. Hamaundu was directed where the stones were being taken. Here, it was discovered that it is not just this man who has been getting stones.
Do you know who the contracting parties are? Me, I was talking to the engineer who was. What's the president of the community of volunteer that used to be. So he said, that we are done with that. There is no one who's got authority over public assets.
The permanent secretary gave a stern warning to such perpetrators.
It is you, our brothers and sisters, who are doing wrong things. So let us learn to do the correct thing. Sometimes our jobs, we want to advise people correctly, even when it hurts you. I'll tell you, because it is my job to protect the bigger picture, the public. Even if I know that you are not saying you hate me, even if you end up hating me for telling you the truth, it's neither here nor there, but the truth is the truth. We must be operating in a structured manner. So when we come back, we want those things back across the road. And if there's anyone else who's doing these things, please.
Some residents of Lusaka's Kamwala South area have been getting stones illegally meant for the road construction along Tokyo Road, popularly known as Ring Road. Jane Simalumba Zanis in Lusaka.
Eastern Province Minister Peter Piri has assured farmers in the province that government is committed to the early distribution of farming inputs for the 2023-2024 farming season. Speaking when he graced this year's Kuhira Nsembe traditional ceremony of the Nsenga people in Petauke district, Mr. Piri said the distribution of T-compound fertilizer was at 100%. More in the following report by Mpaso Dibani.
Dressed in a fiber attire are the Nsenga people of Petauke district in Eastern Province who are celebrating their 2023 Kutira Nsembe traditional ceremony. The traditional ceremony is preceded by offering of sacrifices to the ancestors to seek their forgiveness. This year, it was being celebrated under the theme Harmonizing Heritage, bringing government's inclusive economic transformation agenda and the chiefdom's cultural legacy. Chieftainess Mwanjabantu, through her spokesperson William Piri, commended government for various developmental projects taking place in Petauke.
Tuona soti kuti mapunziro boma ya chitakwino ngako muona bana basanyinja ezekezi nyingi so free education yatia ya kuti bana basonsa welele maskulu then employment ya government about 30,000 workers chiefdom ikuti ni soya mikira ngako gomba busapaname pamene apapeka yayi.
The chief, however, appealed to government to distribute farming inputs to farmers on time.
Kino changa tuone fertilizer iwele msanga because italo changu juita supply mbeo ukapena bakulia kupambana the Hoisen province am the first one. So boma ituone kuti ai kino changa ma fertilizer iwele msanga ndipo abamaya oli mazi mbeo una watita supply msanga kuti tilime msanga koma tuyamikira ngako boma kuti mutengo wechitipasa wa milisi wenze mutengo wokwana wabwino ngako akuti we are very very happy.
Eastern Province Minister Peter Piri, who is also Malambo Member of Parliament, was guest of honor at the ceremony.
Government, under the able leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, will continue to appreciate your efforts to partner with the leadership of the day in promoting and developing social and economic development in your chiefdom. Hence, through community development funds, CDF, traditional leaders have an opportunity to participate and present their communities or chiefdoms through councillors who sit in the council meetings.
Patso Dimbani, Zanis News, in Petauke District, Eastern Province.
Still in agriculture news, over 50 farmers in Chinsali District in Muchinga Province have undergone training in chili production meant for the export market. A Chance for Change Foundation, a Luapula-based non-governmental organization that facilitated the training program, said the training of the farmers is the first step towards having various outgrower schemes in Muchinga Province for chili production. Henry Rumpa has more in the following report.
Farmers in Chinsali District who have benefited from a training program on chili growing being facilitated by a Luapula-based non-governmental organization, A Chance for Change Foundation. The over 50 farmers were trained on necessary preparations, transplanting up to harvesting stage of this African red-eye chili variety, which is not widely grown in Mchinga Province. A Chance for Change Foundation Executive Director John Sakala told Zanis in an interview that the project will also come with other incentives for the farmers.
We have provided seed to the farmers currently. At the point of transplant, we will be able to also provide other farming inputs that they need in terms of water reticulation aspects, as well as any other input that they may need. Okay. So we are moving with them step by step. We don't want to give them all the input they need at once. We want to ensure that we are doing the right thing.
Meanwhile, Chinsali District Agriculture Coordinator Francis Simbati implored the farmers to take the program seriously.
We have stakeholders that should be able to help us find market so that we can get the income that we require. We are all definitely excited by the projections in terms of income that will be available to each farmer if we work hard, isn't it?
This organization is also set to establish a chili processing plant in Chinsali district, of which the produce is mainly intended for the export market. Henry Lumpa Jr., Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga province.
In health news, government says it is committed to ensuring that basic healthcare services reach the intended beneficiaries, including persons living with disabilities. Minister for Health, Sylvia Masebo, says persons living with disabilities are faced with a number of challenges, such as limitations in accessing equitable and quality healthcare services. Ms. Masebo observed that the situation is even worse for women and girls with disabilities, who are more likely to be exposed to sexual abuse and other forms of physical and mental violence. The minister said this in a speech read on her behalf by Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Donor Coordination, George Sinyangwe, during the 2 days National Disability Endeavor held in Lusaka under the theme Ensuring Health for All Towards Universal Health Coverage. Speaking at the same event, UNFPA country representative Seth Brockman, who also represented UNFPA sexual reproductive health specialist Wes Kaonga, said the UN agency will continue supporting the Ministry of Health in the successful implementation of the strategies in order to reduce illness and death among persons with disabilities.
Persons with disabilities in Zambia are faced with many challenges, such as lack of access to equitable and quality health care. The situation is worse for women and girls with disabilities, who are more likely to be exposed to sexual abuse and other forms of physical and mental violence. Evidence shows that women with disabilities are up to 10 times more likely to experience sexual violence, while young people with disability are up to 4 times more likely to experience violence. Further, protracted isolation and disruptions in routine outreach services due to COVID-19 have exacerbated existing vulnerabilities among persons with disabilities.
To ensure that nurses and midwives engage adequately with people with hearing impairments, UNFPA supported the Ministry of Health to develop a module for basic sign language and trained nurses and midwives to ensure people, women and children with hearing impairment are not left behind in SRH and other health services. To ensure that people with disabilities get SRH, HIV and GBV, as well as family planning information, UNFPA supported Ministry of Health to print a broad range of educational materials with SRH, HIV, GBV and family planning information.
Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Christopher Simonga has called on health workers to continue promoting patient-centered care that prioritizes their safety, dignity and respect. Mr. Simonga said the voice of patients should be actively involved throughout the treatment process. He was speaking during the World Patient Safety Day celebration in Kitwe District on the Copperbelt Province.
This year, as Zambia commemorates World Patient Safety Day, health workers from most parts of the Copperbelt Province have come together at Kitwe Teaching Hospital to celebrate. The Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Christopher Simonga, who graced the event, has urged health workers to prioritize the voice and safety of patients while they are being treated from different diseases.
As we gather here today, Zambia joins the rest of the world to recognize the profound impact that patient safety has on the lives of individuals, families, and communities. Every year, millions of lives are affected by healthcare-associated infections, medication errors, diagnostic inaccuracies, and other preventable incidents. These unfortunate occurrences remind us that patient safety is not just a concept. It is a collective responsibility that demands the active involvement of every stakeholder in the healthcare ecosystem.
World Health Organization country representatives said health literacy is an initiative that should be followed to ensure that patients understand their conditions and they will be treated.
Patient safety is real, and one of the key tools we have in our hands is listen a little more to the people. Within that conversation may be the clue you need to ensure the safety of that patient.
Patient Safety Movement Foundation Ambassador is happy that the event is an opportunity to raise awareness to reduce avoidable harm in patients.
To sensitize healthcare organizations, medical and nursing staff, to how they can integrate, hear the voice of a patient, even more than that. While on the other hand, to empower patients themselves with their voice and make them aware of the importance of their role in healthcare.
This year's event has been celebrated under the theme Engaging Patients for Patient Safety, with a slogan, Elevate the Voice of Patients. Mary Chula for Zanis in Kitwe.
In a related story, Chirundu District Commissioner Patrick Kasambila says it is the desire of government to ensure that most people are economically empowered so that they can live happier lives. Mr. Kasambila said government is aware of all the hardships that Zambians are facing, hence rolling out empowerment programs under various departments. Mr. Kasambila made the remarks when he handed over village chickens to some beneficiary households in Kandandambwe and Kanyanga wards under the Department of Community Development's Food Security Park Alternative Livelihood Interventions. Earlier, Ministry of Community Development and Social Services Chirundu District Community Development Officer Mofati Nguni said the department is implementing the Food Security Park programs component of the Alternative Livelihood Interventions in all the 12 wards of the district. And speaking on behalf of other household beneficiaries, Pearson Hangwanama commended government for implementing the Food Security Park Alternative Livelihood Interventions across the district.
umugwahirira mu mwimu buyumwimu omutani mbomujana tulabwe ni mapezi ndawo ngala mwali wamba makananda tujibwe ni ijuma yuma jagali mwaga onombo jagali jagali be mbuli hunumende haikede bo hunumende bayahaga inde gumu na uji lasola obagwe wamboti bumwi buyonto katugwe muteti bandinga batyani balali gwaya kuli bape gwangugu ngiyibola kuli bape gwangu nani mpongo nokuyanda uti basandiza tuli gwaye mu mapenzi amwe amboti tonse ngatatubi mumberegwe onse gwe nguyita bamwe bana ino ingugu ya mona mbawamba bangoni nibyo munsaizi ino yandigana kubambirila nabapati kubambirila byatu yatuntu bibile kukala mube kulatontola muri yisi yesu yiroko no kulakasala kuti kwakasala kwindire tatuteni kunguma ino mutubambe sometimes basangu nakuhuba nkukumpati tobohiba kuhuba kakuka honto ndiwa mbuyamba yandigana kuti watalikira kuhuba ahonto ibe mboga gomehegwa kuleka uteti wakuja musangoka ulakale honse munganda nyaula koma na mujinde
Captain Ponshi, Member of Parliament Stanley Kakovo, has called on the local authority to provide recreation centers in compounds in the district to reduce the drug, alcohol and substance abuse among the young people in the constituency. Mr. Kakovo said this when he received a team from Skasha and Manu Foundations, two U.S. charity organizations who have come on board to construct a recreation center in Kawama Township in Kapirim Ponshi district. Here's a report.
Young people taking to vices such as alcohol and substance abuse
is one of the common outcomes of lack of recreation facilities, especially in low-income settlements. In Kaprimposhi District, United States of America-based charity organizations, Siksha and Man Foundations have come on board to construct a recreation center in Kawama compound.
We want to encourage and provide a facility for the children to get together and be active and play sports. We need to get input from the community and as well as the minister and the local leaders to make sure that whatever we build is something that they want and they would love to use. So we definitely need input from the community and the leaders, and preferably the children also, and provide the resources according to their needs.
For Area Member of Parliament, this assistance is a relief, as earlier efforts by the local authority to construct a recreation center in Kawama compound stalled over 20 years ago.
Something like this is what modern communities also have in amongst them. It's education and everyday work, but also recreation is what builds healthy communities as well. We've got bars here where the children are going to take alcohol, to smoke and so on. We want to bring them back and model them and mentor them properly. So that's where the heart of this project is. And we are lucky to have our friends from the US to come and help us.
Once constructed, the recreation facility is expected to offer educational and sports services. Carlos Zanis, Kaprimposhi.
And that story from Kaprimposhi wraps up our news. But before we go, a recap of the headlines once again. Kakubo to represent President Hakainde Hichilema at the United Nations General Assembly. Commissioning of 4 million kwacha Kalanga market in Mwense to enhance trading. Government to distribute inputs early. Plus 2 US foundations to construct recreation centers in Kaprimposhi. That's the end of the news. My name is Kalan Muchima. Thank you so much for your company. God bless you. Bye-bye.